In this section, we're going to walk through the setup of Kubernetes on your local machine for the macOS operating system. So if you are running Windows, pause the video right now and continue to the next section. All right, so for Mac, here are the series of steps that we're going to go through. And I added one or two inside of here beyond what we saw just a moment ago. Don't worry, it's not a lot of extra work. So to install the majority of all this stuff, we're going to be using a package manager called Homebrew. Chances are that you might already have Homebrew installed, but we're going to first just double check to make sure that you do have it installed. And if you don't, we'll very quickly add it to your machine. So to make sure that Homebrew is installed on your local machine, we'll open up our terminal and then we'll run which brew. Now, if you see something like this right here, if you see a path to Homebrew, you're good, and you do not need to do the extra step. If you see a message that says like brew command unrecognized or command not found, then you do have to go through this extra download brew step right here. Okay, so if you saw an error message, we're going to go to brew.sh in a new browser tab and download and install Homebrew. It's very quick. So inside of a new browser tab, I'll navigate to brew.sh. I'll find the script right here on the very center. I'll copy the entire thing. I'll flip back over to my terminal and I'll run it. Now I already have Homebrew installed, so I'm not going to run this command, but after a very quick little setup process, you should see something that says Homebrew is installed, and after that, you should then successfully be able to run which brew and see something like this appear. All right, so now that we've got Homebrew installed, we can move on down to the next step, which is to install the kubectl command line tool. Remember, this is the tool that we're going to use to interact with the Kubernetes master. So to install this, which is a command line tool, all we have to do is run brew install kubectl. Yep, that's it, just that easy. So at my terminal, I'll run brew install kubectl. Now for me, I'm getting a little warning right here because I already have it installed, but for you, you'll very quickly see a bunch of text scroll over the screen, and then something at the bottom should more or less say kubectl has been added. And to verify that it was, we can run which kubectl, and we should see a path like this appear on the screen. So hey, not that bad, right? Okay, for the next step, we're going to install a virtual machine driver called VirtualBox. This is an executable that we're going to download at virtualbox.org. So inside of a new browser tab, I'll navigate to virtualbox.org. On the left-hand side, I'll find the download section. And then I'll find OS X hosts right here. When you click on that link, it's going to automatically start downloading the installer. So go ahead and click on it. It's about 90 megabytes or larger so you'll download it rather quickly. And then once you've downloaded it, pull that thing open inside of a folder explorer, and you should see the virtualbox.dmg file. So we can double click on this thing. That'll pop open a window like this. We're going to find the installer up here on the top left-hand side. Double click it, and it's going to start up a installation wizard. And so as usual, go ahead and hit continue, 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 and you're pretty much going to be good to go. Now I've already installed VirtualBox, so I'm going to close out of this thing myself. Once you have finished the installation of VirtualBox, which should take just a couple of seconds or so, we'll move on to the last item, or second to last item, which is to install Minikube. And remember, Minikube's job is to make sure that we can use that virtual machine to boot up a single node and configure it to run Kubernetes. So to install Minikube, back at our terminal, we'll run brew cask install Minikube. So back at my terminal, brew cask install Minikube. Now once again, I already have this program installed, so I'm probably going to see a warning or error message here rather quickly, but you will install this thing, and then you should eventually see something that says, okay, good to go with Minikube. And of course, you can run the command which Minikube and see a path like this appear once you have successfully installed it. All right, so now the very last thing that we're going to do is run a command with Minikube. We're going to execute Minikube start. Now when you run this command, it's going to automatically access the copy of VirtualBox that you just downloaded and installed. It's going to use that to set up a virtual machine, and then it will configure that virtual machine to behave as a Kubernetes node. So to start up Minikube, I'll flip back over to my command line, and I'll run Minikube start. Okay, we should see something that says starting VM up here on the screen. Now, this is going to take several minutes, so we're going to pause the video right here, and we'll continue in the next section. By the way, if it appears that this thing is not progressing, if it feels like it's just completely stuck, you can exit out of the start process with a Control-C, and then start it back up again with another Minikube start. So I'll leave it right here, I'll let this command finish up, and then I'll see you in the next section.